My name is Tim Keady. I'm a research officer at Teagasc based in Athenry, County Galway. Today at the conference I'm going to talk about factors affecting lifetime production from ewes. Nationally, the national replacement rate is estimated to be approximately 22% for a flock that only has a weaning rate of 1.2 lambs per ewe joined to the ram. When the costs are worked out, it's the cost of the replacement is equivalent to €1.20 per kilo lamb carcass produced nationwide, which really shows that approximately 25% of the revenue received per lamb actually goes to the cost of putting a replacement into the flock at approximately 18 months of age. In a major study that we initiated in Athenry between 2006 and 2008, and which is still ongoing today and probably will finish in 2016 or 2018 depending on culling rates, we have looked at different factors in terms of including planes and nutrition during the first winter, the second grazing season and the first pregnancy, a new genotype on total lifetime output, age of culling and reasons for culling, with the objective to find out is what is the effect of ewe production potential and also the different planes and nutrition offered during different times on lifetime performance and costs of production. If we break it down into the main factors, the first main factor we looked at was ewe genotype, and in this study we used ewe genotypes which were representative and exceeded the production potential that's achieved at national level. Our worst ewe genotype weaned 1.12 lambs per ewe to the ram, and if you remember that the national average is only 1.2, we're very close to the national average. Our two intermediate ewe genotypes weaned 1.71 and 1.78 lambs per ewe joined, and the best ewe genotype we had weaned 2.1 lambs per ewe joined. What we found was that ewe genotype per se had no prolificity potential of the ewe genotype had no effect on culling rate or replacement rate. We found that increase in litter size and weaning rate dramatically reduced the cost of replacement when expressed per kilogram of lamb carcass, and using our different genotypes we were able to reduce the replacement cost from €1.30 to 78 cents per kilo lamb carcass produced. And our data concluded that each 0.2 lamb increase in weaning rate by 0.2 lambs per ewe joined, you're able to reduce your replacement cost, the equivalent of increasing carcass value by 13 cents per kilogram of lamb carcass slaughtered. We also looked at planes and nutrition, and the first thing we looked at was altering the plane and nutrition during the first winter. And when we did this, we changed their ME intakes, or metabolizable energy intakes, from 73% of maintenance requirements up to 142% of maintenance requirements. What we found in this was that we increased the weight of the lambs at the point of joining by only 4 kilos, but there was an effect on lamb performance when the ewes were lambed as 2 toots or hoggets, and also on their subsequent litters up to 5 years of age. On average, we found that increasing the plane and nutrition during the first winter increased the weight of lamb weaned by 6 kilos, by 0.6 of a kilo per lamb, and also reduced ewe barrenness from 6.1 down to 3.6 percentage points. In terms of altering the plane and nutrition during the second grazing season, we did this by either stocking the ewes at 4 centimetres or at a set stock grazing sward height of 6 centimetres. And we found that again we changed the weight of the ewe by about 4 kilos at the point of joining, but plane and nutrition offered during the second grazing season did not alter ewe performance or lamb performance either during the first lambing or subsequent lambings. And the final thing that we looked at was the plane and nutrition offered during the first pregnancy, and we altered the plane and nutrition during the first pregnancy by changing grass silage feed value. We used two silages. We used what we call a medium feed value silage of 69 DMD, and we used a high feed value silage of 75 DMD. And a lot of people would tell you, or commentators in the industry would tell you, that if you have a silage of 69% DMD, you've got an excellent product. That facts are not true. The data shows that 69% DMD silage is representative of the average silage that's produced in Ireland today. So the point is that if you have a silage of 69% DMD, then you've got an average silage. We fed these silages during their first pregnancy, and the data would show that when lambed as 2 toots, that increase in silage feed value, increased lamb birth weight by 0.3 kilos, increased weaning weight by 0.9 of a kilo, reduced ewe barrenness by 4.2 percentage points, and reduced ewe mortality by 3.5 percentage points. So during the first pregnancy, increase in plane and nutrition increased both the ewe and the lamb performance. However, this did not carry through this did not carry forward to subsequent lamb crops that were produced by the ewes. We also looked at the effective age of the ewe, and we looked at ewes up to 6 years of age, and we found that increasing the ewe age up to 6 years of age had no negative effect whatsoever on litter size, weaning rate, weight of lambs at birth, or the weight of the lamb at weaning. And we actually found that the older the ewe, the lower was the lamb mortality. And what the data tells us is that if there's no genuine reason to cull a ewe, then she shouldn't be culled just for age alone. Because if you're culling a ewe just for age alone, you're actually reducing the potential output from your flock, you're increasing replacement rate, and you're increasing replacement costs. And the last thing that came through from this study was we looked at barrenness. Barrenness is where a ewe is let to the ram but doesn't become in lamb, and subsequently doesn't produce any lambs. Some commentators would be of the opinion that any barren ewe should be culled immediately from the flock. Our policy at Athenry for this study and previous studies is we do not cull for barrenness alone. In the current study, 16% of the ewes showed barrenness on at least one occasion, and 3.5% of the ewes showed barrenness on at least 2 occasions. Of the 3.5% of the ewes that showed barrenness is actually a number of 10 ewes. Out of these 10 ewes, when we looked at their data, 3.5% had experienced a previous very difficult lambing, and that was probably the reason why they remained barren. Our evidence would show that when only 3.5% of the ewes repeated barrenness, that it was a random opportunity that a ewe will be barren on a second occasion. And by random, I mean you have as much chance of picking the lottery numbers as a ewe being barren on a second occasion. That's how random we're talking about. So our conclusion is to rear ewe replacement, to reduce costs, you use prolific breeds with the objective of increasing weaning rate. Secondly, you look after them well during the first winter when they're often neglected, aiming to get 50 to 60 grams of live weight gain, because what we found was that the effect of the first winter nutrition actually carried through to every lamb crop that was there in terms of reduced barrenness and increased lamb weight at the point of weaning. The third point was changing the plain of nutrition during the second summer did not affect ewe or lamb performance, and changing the plain of nutrition during the first pregnancy increased ewe and lamb performance for that pregnancy alone, but not subsequently. And anyone that culls ewes for barrenness probably needs their head examined. And as an old line manager used to say to me, it's probably utter nonsense to cull a ewe for barrenness. Thank you.